Hi everyone, welcome to Miss Adams Teaches Poetry. In this video, we're going to be having a look at Hurricane Hits England by Grace Nichols. We're going to look at 5 key moments from the poem and we're going to analyse the quotes for language, structure and form. So get your flashcards ready and let's get started. Okay, starting with the opening. Sorry, I know it's quite a long poem, so it's quite difficult just to do 5 little quotes because I want to make sure that you understand it. So I've got the first couple of lines and then a few more from that first stanza. It took a hurricane to bring her closer to the landscape. The first thing to look at here is this use of the third person pronoun, her. She's actually talking about herself here. She's talking about herself in the third person, demonstrating a kind of sense of sort of distance. She's talking about her ability to feel connected with the landscape, i.e. with England. And you can see that in the enjambment, the way that it's sort of split off her and then to the next line to the landscape. And the fact that she says it took a hurricane, it suggests that there's been some sort of struggle getting her to connect to this landscape. And so immediately we learn that through the course of this poem, there is going to be some further connection. And then she goes on to describe the storm. We first off get this quite animalistic, quite sort of zoomorphic onomatopoeia in this adjective, the howling ship of the wind. It's obviously a metaphor as well here. And it's not just metaphorical. It's personification as well, because it describes its gathering rage. And obviously rage is a very human emotion. So we're describing, or she's describing the sounds that she's hearing. So just imagine her lying in bed, listening in to this storm outside her windows, and she imagines it being like some dark ancestral spectre. Okay, so we've got obviously a really lovely simile here. Ancestral meaning like familiar, like old family, like, you know, from the past, and a spectre means a ghost. So she's basically saying it's like some sort of ghost of her home. So it's quite an interesting simile, particularly when you look at it in conjunction with this oxymoron or juxtaposition, because I know they're not exactly side by side, fearful and reassuring. But that juxtaposition is, you know, it's reminding us of the danger and the power of the storm. But as we know, she comes from Guyana. She will have experienced a lot of storms, a lot of hurricanes. It's actually something that gives her comfort. So we've got this real kind of conflict here between the sort of power and the fear and the damage of a storm, but also the way that it makes her feel connected to home. It makes her think of the storms that she heard of in Guyana. And in this moment, she has this absolute connection with the storm itself. And you can see that through this personification, because she's directly addressing the gods, which are all related to storms. I'll take you through it. So yes, it's addressing the storms, and in that it personifies by saying, you know, talk to me. She's giving the storms a voice. And we've got this anaphoric structure, not just in the first line, but the first 3 words of the utterance. Talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. Notice the way that it kind of creates almost like a chant-like tone, or maybe even a prayer. There's certainly a sense of desperation. And now what we have is some gods that are, so hurricane, this first one that we've got, this is actually in patois, in Caribbean patois, again representing her home. So hurricane is the god of hurricanes. Oya is the god of winds, and Shango is the god of thunder and lightning. So it becomes almost like a tribal chant or a prayer to these gods of the storms. So again, it shows that need, that desperation she has to connect with her roots, her home, her heritage, because she feels disconnected from where she is, i.e. the UK. Now I'm cutting out a few little bits here. In between that stanza from before and this one here, you get some questions about like her trying to piece out like, why are you here? Sort of why are you creating this chaos in a place that you don't belong? And then she says, the blinding illumination, even as you short circuit us into further darkness. I think this stanza is epic, because what she's talking about is the lightning, yeah, the lightning striking and the electricity going out in the home. That's the literal, yeah, lightning strikes, electricity goes out. We've also got metaphor. So blinding illumination, yes, it's lightning, but it can be a metaphor for knowledge, can't it? And that's what she's seeking. She's seeking understanding. And illumination is a well-known metaphor. You know, when you shine a light on something, you find out more. And then we've got another metaphor at the end of this stanza, even as you short circuit us into further darkness. Now, again, further darkness, so it's relating to the fact that she was in darkness before. So literal, yeah, power cut. Metaphor, lack of knowledge. So it's like gaining this little hint of understanding and then being confused even further. Like, why are you here? How am I feeling? Where do I fit? And obviously you'll notice that the juxtaposition here between illumination and darkness. But what is more interesting about this is the way that the poem is set out. Check out this enjambment. It's not just that the utterance is split between lines. She's chopped like a compound noun in half. Short circuit, that's a compound noun. And she's chopped it in half, which is bam, the light's going out. So it's deliberately jarring. It's deliberately chopped because it's like the suddenness of the lightning hitting and the light's going out. So it's the line is cut in half. And then if you want to be even more kind of about this stanza, look at the shape of it. So some poems, you can say that there are poems that are called shape poems, like as the form. Now this isn't a shape poem, but this stanza takes on that shape form, because other than this one here, look at the way that the lines are staggered. You could argue that that actually represents the motion of the lightning. How clever is that? I love that. Okay. Here's me being sneaky, chucking in an extra quote onto the same slide, pretending it's a 5-quotation PowerPoint. Sorry. Okay, so this little line here, oh, why is my heart unchained, is a stanza in itself. So that's worth noting. It's also a rhetorical question. It's also got an interjection suggesting incredible power. It is also a metaphor, and that metaphor suggests freedom. Why is my heart unchained? Why is my heart free? So actually, this is a point in the poem. It's a turning point in the poem where she's suddenly realizing that she is free and that she is okay. And in some ways, it's perturbing. She's like, how am I suddenly feeling free? How am I suddenly feeling comfortable in a world that I wasn't feeling comfortable before because of that kind of clash of culture between Guyana and England? And that leads her to write this. Tropical oyer of the weather. So again, we've got this direct address to the weather itself, so personifying the weather. And check out this anaphora. I'm aligning myself to you. I'm following the movement of your winds. I am riding the mystery of your storms. So we've got present continuous tense in all of these verbs here. So am aligning, am following, am riding. So it's very immediate. It's like in the moment she's feeling this. And obviously these are metaphors. Okay, the idea of being in sync with the storm and moving with the winds and riding. So it comes back to this idea of journey that has actually been sort of mentioned in early parts of the poem that I've not talked about. Well, even the fact that she describes the howling ship of the wind, it's like the storm is journeying like a boat from place to place, and she's like, I'm with it, I'm with you, I'm riding that wave, I'm riding that mystery. So again, it's this idea of connection between her and the storm. And then our final stanza, our sweet mystery. So we've got this little interjection, again suggesting like high emotion. Sweet mystery, come to break the frozen lake in me. So we've got personification. So sweet mystery represents the kind of mystery of the storm, but this comes to break. So there's almost like intent. So she's saying like, you, the storm, this mystery that is the storm, has deliberately come to me to help me. And what they've done, what the storm has done, is broken the frozen lake. So this is a metaphor. So she's imagining that inside herself there was this frozen lake. And the lake is a great metaphor because think about the idea of reflections and depth. She's saying it's frozen. It was icy, as in it was cold. She couldn't connect. Yeah, she couldn't connect to the culture, she couldn't figure out who she was in the UK. But the storm has broken that frozen lake and shaken the foundations of the very trees within me. Now, this is repetition of earlier imagery where it talks about the trees crashing down in the wind and showing their roots. I'm not commented on that line, but you can go back and have a little look at it. But again, it's the same as this. It's about the idea of all of those things that were sort of locked away have kind of been shaken free. And she realizes, and again, further personification, that the sweet mystery has come to let her know, so with intent, that the earth is the earth is the earth. i.e., it doesn't matter whether she is in the UK or whether she is in the Caribbean. It's all the earth. It's all connected. And she doesn't have to feel out of sync. She doesn't have to feel disconnected because she, like the UK and like Guyana, are all part of the same thing, the world, the earth. Oh, what a good poem. Oh, I love it. I hope that was helpful. Like I said, it's quite a long poem, so I went through quite a few lines. But there are other ones that I missed out, so do give me a shout if you want me to answer any questions about those lines. If you haven't subscribed, do click the button and then you'll get notifications of all the other videos coming your way. And if you have subscribed, thank you so much. That's it from me. Thank you again. Happy revising.